Welcome to Okaloosa Today, local news and information. Connecting the communities of Footwalter Beach, Destin, and Okaloosa County.
Welcome to Okaloosa Today on Cox. This is your monthly look at the city of Destin, Fort Walton Beach, and Okaloosa County. And as you can see, we're in a new building today. This is the Okaloosa County Administrative Building. It's brand new, just opened last month. And we're actually in the Board of County Commissioners chambers. It's a really neat building. We hope you have a chance to come check this out. And I know that Kathy Newby will give you a tour a little later on. Today's Destin segment is with the Choctawhatchee Basin Alliance, one of the city's premier partners. We're really excited to have them here, and Sarah Davis, who is the Fund Development and Marketing Coordinator, Alison McDowell, you are the director of the program. So tell us a little bit about what CBA is from scratch. I mean, we don't pretend we know nothing about CBA. What does CBA do?
CBA is a local nonprofit organization who is committed to providing the sustainable use of local waterways. So basically that means that we want to grow a community of stewards that's going to help us preserve our waterways so that we can rely on those resources for future generations. Yeah,
your work in the community is really broad, and then it is also very specific, and that really plays into the city's mission of having a high quality of life and preservation of heritage, environment, and service excellence. I mean, our environment is our waterways heavily, the Destin Harbor, the Choctawhatchee Bay, East Pass, and the Gulf. And what you do inside the watershed is vital to the sustainability and life of our community, and it's to be commended. So we really want to just kind of highlight that. Alison, tell us about the importance of your work here.
Well, CBA and the city of Destin kind of make ideal partners because, like you say, our economy of our region and our identity, our heritage, all depend on our waterways. And so CBA kind of, as Sarah said, we reach out to the community. We provide education and experiences to folks that will allow them to make decisions in their everyday life that will lead to the sustainability of our waterways so that we can enjoy them for years to come. So some of the things that we've done specifically in the past with the city of Destin, I think the city of Destin, because their identity is so closely tied to our waterways, always recognize that our missions kind of mesh together. Mm-hmm. So CBA has been around since 1996, and even from the beginning, CBA and the city of Destin were partnering. We partnered in the early years on a study, a bay-wide study of water quality in Choctawhatchee Bay. In more recent years, the city of Destin and CBA have partnered on the city's federal stormwater permits, and we help the city with the education portion of that. We go into schools and we teach children about stormwater and what they can do to prevent pollution going into our waterways. And we also reach out to community and civic groups within the city of Destin, most especially the Destin Forward class. We speak to them every year, and that's a program of the chamber.
That's right. Yeah, Sarah was a part of that last year. I'm actually a part of that class this year, so it's really good to see that.
Yeah, it's really, I think it's a program that helps raise city leaders, so it's a good place for us to go and talk to folks about how important our waterways are to the economy and the well-being of the city of Destin.
The education component of your program may be the most important thing you do, because you actually educate like you said, our children and people in the community about issues. Stormwater has been a huge topic. I know Sean and Jerry are tired of us talking about that on this show, but it's so important. And as of late, with all the rains we've had this last year and the year before, it's really important to understand how that affects our waterways. You deal with that directly with water testing and things like that. Tell us some of the education components you have, maybe with some of the schools or other groups.
Well, we do have two programs that we go into schools and we teach youth about the environment. We have Grasses and Classes, which a lot of people are pretty familiar with. That is an elementary level. We go into 3rd and 5th grade classrooms. We are in over 20 different schools in Okaloosa and Walton counties, and we give the children, in partnership with AmeriCorps, monthly lessons about the environment, about the watershed. And the children are given a salt marsh nursery in which they grow Spartina alterniflora, which is smooth cordgrass. I know that's a mouthful, but the kids actually know how to say that, which is really, really cool. But the kids, they go and they grow shoreline grass, learn about the environment, and then at the end of the year, we take them out to Choctawhatchee Bay to one of our restoration sites, and they are able to plant the shoreline grass and have an active role in restoring our bay and in the watershed. We also have a new program in middle schools called Dunes in Schools. It piloted last year. And this year we have 6 different middle schools in Okaloosa and Walton County participating. And it's similar to Grasses and Classes in that the children are growing something in the classroom, receiving monthly environmental lessons. But the focus of Dunes in Schools is the coastal dune, lake, and barrier island ecosystems. So those children are growing sea oats, and we take them out to the coastal dune lakes in Walton County to restoration sites, and they are able to plant the sea oats and help to restore the dune ecosystems that we have on 30A. So that's a really cool program for those kids.
Well, we also, the Dunes in Schools program, we also go to Henderson Beach State Park, which is in Destin, and we have Dunes in Schools at Destin Middle School, and we're in 3rd grade at Destin Elementary with our Grasses and Classes program. So those kids get to participate in those valuable education programs.
So a lot of maybe the sea oats that are planted out at Henderson Beach are coming directly from our Destin kids.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's good, and that ties back into what you mentioned earlier, Sarah, about having stewards of our environment. I mean, you guys are growing stewards every day with your work, and that's really important because, you know, like we said before, this is so vital to our, not just our environment, but to the way of life in Destin. If these waters have any real issues, then our economy will suffer.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Our bay, you know, or 75 to 85% of commercially and recreationally important species that are caught in the Gulf spend part of their life cycle in the bay. So that's one of the things that we teach people when we're trying to, you know, a lot of people know how important the Gulf is, obviously, because that's where we do our commercial fishing, that's where we go to the beach and, you know, enjoy the waves and the water. But the bay is so important for the health of the Gulf as well.
Let's talk about that health a little bit. I know that one of the things you do is oyster reef building. That's actually a really visible and cool project you do. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, our oyster reef restoration program, we started doing some pilot projects in 2006, I think, and since then we've really taken off with that. One adult oyster can filter up to 50 gallons of water a day. So oysters are important to water quality and filtering water. The oyster reef habitat, so the structure of the oyster reef can also provide lots of hiding places for juvenile fish, crabs, so it's an important structure within the bay for fish and crabs to live on. And the physical presence of the oyster reef, the way that we build and construct them along the shoreline, can actually help to slow down in wave energy, and so we can reduce and even sometimes reverse erosion in that way.
Some of that's really visible over at the Maddie Kelly Pier and Park in the city of Destin. I think those oyster reefs have been around for a while, but they're still there. They still, I think, are working and doing exactly what you said they do, which is breaking some of that wave action, prevent erosion, and then of course, I don't understand all of the ecological side of that with all the really cool things that live in there, but that's really neat to know that they do that. So, Sarah, you are heavily involved in a lot of the volunteer programs and things like that. Pollution is really an important issue that we deal with, and with the recent cleanup day that we had, and we talked about that on this show and promoted that some, but give us some statistics and some idea of the seriousness of pollution and what we saw that in Destin, specifically on Noriega Point. All of that stuff finds its way into our waters, or it makes its way from the water to our land. And tell us a little bit about that project.
Well, pollution is something that we deal with regularly in coastal areas, but specifically in the Destin area, when we had the International Coastal Cleanup, we collected data on the things that we picked up. And you were a big part of that, so you know a little bit about it too. But some of the things that people are unaware of that are left behind, that they don't realize the impact that they have on the waterways. For instance, cigarette butts. Cigarette butts are something that people are pretty quick to just toss out the window or to just drop on the ground. It takes 10 to 12 years for one cigarette butt to decompose in a marine ecosystem. And we collected, I want to say, a little over 5,000 cigarettes. Cigarette butts from Noriega Point at the coastal cleanup, which is 50,000 plus years collectively for all those cigarettes to decompose, and that is a lot. So we try to get the word out about those kind of things. A few other things to name. Let's see. There's a whole list.
Yes, there was a whole list. We found some fireworks debris was another one of the main, I think, components of the trash that we found there.
And food wrappers and things like that.
Yeah, and bottle tops. A lot of it looked like water bottle tops. So, and then you see some things, and those are things from people visiting the beach and just kind of tossing stuff down. But a lot of times stuff is blown out of a boat or blown off of your blanket. So it's always important to secure any trash that you have while you're at the beach or on your boat. That's something that people can do to help keep things clean.
A really important takeaway from that project was that we should all be more mindful of what happens. I mean, you can litter unintentionally. Like you said, things can blow off out of the back of your vehicle or off your boat, but it's really important for us to be mindful of everything around us. And even if you're not littering, pick up what you see. I mean, Sarah and I, or Alison, actually you were at Noriega Point.
Right.
Sarah, you were at a different location that day, but we were able to see, I was just amazed at how much is out there. It really was.
There
I
was
thought to see a lot.
Because too, I thought, well, Noriega Point's pretty clean, so we won't find that much. But really, a lot of what we found was so small, and those are the things that get ingested by marine life and can really cause harm to some of our, marine animals too. So it's important that we take at least a day or two out of the year to go out there and get up all that stuff.
It really is, and I think we're going to do this again in the spring. We
Absolutely,
decided
on Earth Day.
We committed to do that on Earth Day in the spring, and we'll be publicizing that again. But your partnership is really crucial, not just from the picking up of the stuff, but the education side of that, putting the word out there. Your connections have helped the city of Destin spread the message about the importance of that. I know our harbor, the health and vitality of our harbor is important, and that all plays a part and works together. So we really appreciate that. Another thing I'd like to ask you about is your water testing, and I know you test different parts of the bay and areas. Tell us about your water testing, what you're looking for, and what you see.
Well, our water quality program is a volunteer water quality monitoring program. We monitor monthly. We have stations in the Destin Harbor and around in the bayous, Joe's Bayou, Indian Bayou, Jones Bayou, and we do this in partnership with University of Florida Lake Watch. And so what we're testing for is total phosphorus, total nitrogen, and chlorophyll, which are measures of how much nutrients there are in the water. And if you have too many nutrients, it could be a bad thing. There's always going to be some nutrients, and that's good. But too many nutrients can lead to excess algae, which can lead to algae bloom and then a loss of oxygen. So that's why it's important to monitor those parameters. We also monitor water clarity, which, if water is clear, there's not a lot of turbidity, then seagrass can grow. And seagrass is kind of the bottom of the food chain in the marine environment, because that's what everyone eats, and it's refuge habitat, hiding habitat for small juvenile species. So it's an important indicator of health as well.
Your testing is different from the health department's testing. I mean, they do some different things, and that's something I wanted to say because we get calls all the time.
Yeah.
So
they complement each other.
You do.
Right.
You guys are looking at the ecosystem, and they're looking at more of a a public health issue.
Yes, they look at bacteria. So that's as you say, a public health.
All right, good. I'm glad we cleared that up.
Exactly.
So, of all the programs you have a big need for volunteers, and that's one thing that we want to let everyone know on this show, is that the volunteerism is huge, and you two are one of a small staff. There are very few of you that I know that. So tell us about your volunteer program and what you need and what you're looking for.
Well, like I said, CBA is all about growing a community of stewards, because it's not just our responsibility, it's the entire community's responsibility. These are all of our waterways that we share and that we want to protect and preserve for the future. So CBA does try to engage a community in getting involved with the things that we do. The water quality monitoring program that Alison had just talked about is really the volunteers that help us to achieve our sampling and data collection. They are a huge part of that program. We wouldn't be able to accomplish all of the 100+ different sites throughout the Choctawhatchee watershed that we sample. So we're always looking for people that want to come on board and do water quality monitoring with us. We also have a need for people to join our restoration efforts. We have Habitat RX, which is an invasive plant removal. They can get involved with that. Also with building our oyster reefs. I like to call it Operation Restoration. But we have a lot of people come out. We have military, we have young kids, we have youth that are school age. We have adults that are our age that come out and they help us to bag the oyster shell. Some of them have even helped us do shell pickup, which we do a couple times a week, and collect the oyster shell. Then the building of the reef or construction of the reef. So we always have opportunities there for the community to join our restoration efforts. And then we also have public outreach opportunities. We do a lot of public outreach. And like you said, we are a small staff, so we're always looking for people that want to come on board and do events with us or join the events committee, so those opportunities are available as well.
How would someone find out about these opportunities?
Well, they can contact us directly at 850-200-4171. That is our telephone number. Or if you wanted to know more about CBA and the programs, volunteer opportunities, what we have coming up event-wise, they can visit our website, which is www.basinalliance.org. And then we're always letting people know they can catch us on Facebook too, which is facebook.com/Basin Alliance.
Basin Alliance. Very good. The City of Destin's Facebook page follows your Facebook page. Link to your page is on our page, but it's really neat to see all the things that you do. Very active in the community. Again, we want to encourage volunteers to look at what you're doing. It sounds like you can get involved on a regular basis with some type of monitoring, or just a kind of a spontaneous event type or program-based volunteer opportunity. That's really neat. I really want to thank you for being here. This is nice to hear that there's an organization that really cares so much about our environment. And I know I'm speaking selfishly of Destin, but you actually serve a much bigger area than that. But the City of Destin greatly appreciates what you do.
We do. We do. Yeah, we value our partnership with the City of Destin. It's one of our favorites.
Well, good. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Except for all these people watching. Again, we want to thank the CBA for being our guest today. Be sure to check out their website, City of Destin's website as well. Links back to them. Volunteer, be a part of our environment, and stay tuned for the City of Fort Walton Beach next.